I actually have a thing in my life where I don't use my platform as a famous person to do politics.
Yeah.
I leave it at that. I never answer questions. All I say is I believe in democracy, and I'm done. If you want my opinion, you come to the pub and I'll tell you my opinion.
Suzi Quatro, the fierce rock icon who shattered barriers for women in music, has lived a life full of groundbreaking moments. From dominating the stage to blazing a trail for female musicians, her career is legendary.
He's got a good voice.
Yeah, what's his name now?
Chris Norman.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the evergreens.
Yeah,
That one and If You Can't Give Me Love were the two that were not my normal kind of thing, and they're real evergreens.
But one collaboration stands out above the rest. Her iconic duet with Chris Norman, Stumblin' In. Now, at 75, Suzi Quatro finally opens up about their bond, their musical chemistry, and the untold story behind one of rock's most memorable partnerships. What's the real story behind their iconic song? Let's find out. The duet that shook the music world. In 1978, the world of rock music was forever changed when Suzi Quatro, the groundbreaking bass-playing queen of rock, and Chris Norman, the charismatic lead singer of the band Smokey, came together to record what would become one of the most iconic duets in rock history, Stumblin' In. At the time, both Suzi and Chris were already well-known artists in their own right, each having carved out their own lane in the music world. However, their collaboration brought something entirely new to the table, something that neither artist had experienced before. A raw, undeniable chemistry that resonated with listeners worldwide. When the song was released, it quickly rose through the charts, reaching an impressive number 4 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and solidifying its place as a timeless classic. Stumblin' In wasn't just another duet. It was a moment in time, a perfect blending of two distinct voices and musical styles that created something larger than the sum of its parts. The track was a bold, catchy anthem, one that perfectly captured the spirit of its time while also transcending the era, keeping its relevance even decades later. Stumblin' In stood out not just for its catchy melody, but for the natural chemistry between Suzi and Chris. From the first note, it was clear they weren't just singing together. They were creating music together. Their energy complemented each other perfectly, drawing out the best in one another. This collaboration brought a powerful, emotional sound, where each artist's strengths shone, making the song feel real, raw, and completely authentic. Stumblin' In was a turning point for Suzi Quatro, revealing a new dimension of her musical talent. While she was renowned for her bold bass playing and commanding presence, this duet gave her the chance to showcase her vocal range and versatility. It wasn't just about power anymore. Suzi's voice embraced a softer, more melodic tone, allowing her to connect emotionally with the audience. This vulnerability added a captivating depth to her performance, proving she was more than just a rock powerhouse. The song itself, while rooted in the rock genre, carried a unique blend of emotion and energy that was a departure from the typical formulaic duets of the time. It wasn't just about making music. It was about telling a story, sharing a moment. And that moment was incredibly personal for both Suzi and Chris. They weren't just singing the lyrics. They were living them. Their voices came together in such a way that it was clear that they were not only great musicians, but genuine collaborators who had found something special in each other's artistry. Stumblin' In didn't just showcase their individual talents, it redefined what a rock duet could be. It proved that when two artists come together with mutual respect, creativity, and trust, they can create something that transcends both their individual styles and the genre itself. And for Suzi, it marked the beginning of a new chapter in her career, one where her voice could shine in new, exciting ways. Stumblin' In was a defining moment for both Suzi Quatro and Chris Norman, bringing them both into the spotlight. But what led to this iconic collaboration that shook the music industry at the time? Was it one of them who initiated the idea to collaborate? Or was there someone else behind the scenes who brought them together to create this unforgettable hit? Let's uncover the details. The spark behind Stumblin' In. The story of Stumblin' In started with a simple studio session. Producer Mike Chapman brought Suzi Quatro and Chris Norman together, not expecting anything extraordinary to come from it. They were both experienced musicians, but they didn't anticipate that this meeting would lead to anything beyond a standard recording. However, the moment they started singing, something magical happened. Chris's natural warmth immediately put Suzi at ease, and the instant chemistry between them was undeniable. Their voices blended so effortlessly, creating a sound that felt powerful yet easygoing, a harmony that was truly special and destined to last for years to come. From the moment they began working together, it was obvious that this partnership was far from ordinary. The chemistry between Suzi and Chris was instant, almost as if they had been collaborating for years. For Suzi, this was a unique experience. She often mentions how working with Chris felt completely natural. There was no tension or pressure. It was as if their creative energies just flowed together effortlessly. This wasn't just about making music. It was about crafting something authentic and meaningful, a piece of work that felt deeply personal and connected, reflecting their true talents and the special bond they shared. Although Stumblin' In was written by Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin, the moment Suzi and Chris added their voices to the track, it became theirs. Their personal chemistry turned the song into something much more than what was written on paper. Released as a standalone single in 1978, Stumblin' In marked Chris Norman's debut as a solo artist after his time with the band Smokey. For Suzi, the song took on additional significance when it was later added to some editions of her album If You Knew Suzi, further solidifying her legacy as an artist who could adapt and grow in new directions. What made Stumblin' In such a remarkable success wasn't just its catchy rhythm or the powerful harmony between Chris and Suzi. It was something deeper, a genuine musical connection that sparked the creation of a song that felt authentic and timeless. This collaboration wasn't just about two musicians sharing a moment in the studio. It was about creating something meaningful that resonated deeply with listeners. From the beginning, mutual respect and a deep understanding of each other's artistry were at the heart of the project. Suzi and Chris weren't just making music together, they were sharing an experience, one that would connect with fans for years to come. The lasting success of Stumblin' In proves that when two artists come together with shared passion and genuine connection, they can create something that stands the test of time. The song went on to become a classic, not just because of its catchy tune, but because it was the result of a magical partnership that neither Suzi nor Chris had expected, but both cherished. It wasn't just another hit. It was a moment that would remain iconic in rock music for generations. Although Stumblin' In was written by Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin, it was Suzi Quatro and Chris Norman who gave the song its heart and made it truly unforgettable through their performance. But did the closeness they showed on the song stay on the stage? Or did it grow into something deeper? Let's find out. The bond that went beyond music. While many fans speculated about a romantic relationship between Suzi Quatro and Chris Norman, the truth of their bond was something much deeper and more meaningful. From the very beginning of their collaboration on the hit song Stumblin' In, Suzi has always made it clear that their connection was purely musical. Despite the chemistry that listeners could hear in their voices, there was no romance between them, just a genuine, creative partnership. The collaboration between Suzi and Chris wasn't simply about the music. It was about something far more substantial. Their bond was built on mutual respect, trust, and a shared passion for making great music. When they came together in the studio, it was clear that their musical chemistry wasn't forced. It flowed naturally, creating a sound that felt effortless and sincere. For Suzi, this was the essence of the song. It wasn't just the success of Stumblin' In that mattered, but the authentic connection between her and Chris, a bond that ran far deeper than mere stardom. Chris Norman's warmth and humility were key to the success of his collaboration with Suzi Quatro. Unlike many rock stars known for their egos, Chris remained grounded, which made Suzi feel comfortable and at ease. His kind and laid-back personality created the perfect environment for Suzi to thrive in the studio. This sense of safety and respect was essential for her to perform at her best. Their easy chemistry and mutual respect allowed their voices to blend seamlessly, creating the unforgettable magic that made Stumblin' In a hit. Over the years, Suzi has often reflected on their time together in the studio and how their genuine friendship became the foundation of their lasting partnership. For Suzi, it was never just about the success of the song or the accolades that followed. It was about the real connection they shared, a connection that transcended the music itself. In many ways, it was that bond, that trust and respect, that allowed them to create something so special. The magic wasn't just in their voices blending perfectly, it was in the chemistry they shared as musicians and friends. Suzi has emphasized that the success of Stumblin' In was a celebration of their artistic connection, not a moment driven by the typical pressures of fame or the superficiality that can come with being a public figure. They both brought something unique to the table, and their collaboration was about mutual admiration and shared creativity. It wasn't about trying to create a hit or chasing fame. It was about making music that felt real and meaningful. Suzi's collaboration with Chris marked a pivotal point in her career, proving that genuine partnerships in music, grounded in trust and friendship, can create timeless success. The lasting legacy of Stumblin' In isn't just about the song's popularity, but the deep bond they formed, rooted in their shared love for music and mutual respect. Their journey reminds us that the magic behind great music goes beyond the studio. It's the relationships that bring it to life. Beyond Suzi making it clear that the bond between her and Chris Norman was purely musical, not romantic as many believed. What set Suzi apart from her peers? Was there something about her that defied expectations? Something she did effortlessly that earned her respect in the music world? Now, let's uncover the story of a woman at the forefront. Breaking boundaries in rock. Suzi Quatro's decision to pick up the bass guitar instead of simply standing behind the microphone was a game-changing move at a time when women in rock music were primarily expected to sing while the men played the instruments. In the late 1960s, the music world had very limited roles for women, and most female performers were pigeonholed into being background singers or supporting players. But Suzi was determined not to settle for that. She didn't just want to perform. She wanted to lead the charge, to command the stage in a way that was uniquely her own. In an era when rock music was dominated by men, Suzi was ready to break barriers. She formed the Pleasure Seekers, an all-girl garage band with her sisters and some close friends. At the time, the idea of an all-female rock band was almost unheard of, but that didn't stop Suzi. She not only took on the role of bass player, but she also shared lead vocals, which allowed her to showcase her raw, powerful voice alongside her musical skills. Suzi's fearless stage presence immediately made her stand out. Her energy was magnetic, and she commanded attention wherever she performed. In an era when female musicians were still struggling to earn respect, Suzi's fearless attitude made her stand out. She wasn't content with simply blending into the rock scene. She was on a mission to transform it. Instead of following the typical path for women in music, Suzi was building a new kind of rock star image. She showed the world that women weren't just background singers or dancers. They could grab the spotlight, play instruments, and lead the stage. Suzi wasn't just a part of the industry. She was rewriting its rules and paving the way for future generations of female rock icons. Suzi Quatro's early performances left an indelible mark on the music world. With her boundless energy, exceptional musical skills, and fearless attitude, she not only made a name for herself, but also opened doors for future generations of female musicians. Suzi wasn't simply riding the wave of women entering the music scene. She was the driving force behind it, proving that women could lead the charge. She shattered stereotypes, showing that women didn't have to be confined to roles like background vocalists or performers. Instead, they could grab instruments, command the stage, and redefine the future of rock music. By the time Suzi was in her late teens, she had already established herself as a fierce performer with a unique style that blended power, attitude, and musical ability. This boldness would become a signature of her career, and it was clear that Suzi wasn't just there to fit in. She was there to redefine the space for women in rock. As she honed her skills and made her mark with the pleasure seekers, it became evident that Suzi wasn't just about to follow in the footsteps of others. She was about to make a lasting impact that would change the rock world forever. Suzi defied all odds to become a legendary singer and bass player. But could her background have shaped who she became? Or was the talent that defined her something she discovered later in life? Now, let's explore how Detroit's musical pulse shaped Suzi Quatro's destiny. Born to rock. Suzi Quatro, born Susan K. Quatro. On June 3, 1950, in the heart of Detroit, Michigan, grew up in a city where music wasn't just something you listened to. It was a vibrant thread woven through the very fabric of daily life. Detroit, known for its rich Motown history and bustling music scene, set the perfect stage for Suzi to grow into the musical icon she would become. Creativity was not just encouraged in her household, it was a way of life. Her father, Art Quatro, a musician himself, made sure that music was always part of their environment. The house was constantly filled with the sounds of instruments, melodies, and rehearsals, a natural backdrop to Suzi's early years. Rather than searching for her calling, Suzi was immersed in it from day one. Music wasn't something she had to choose. It was a language she was born to speak. And from the very beginning, she spoke it fluently. From the time she was a young child, Suzi showed a magnetic pull toward rhythm and sound. While other kids might have been playing games or reading books, Suzi was already absorbing the rhythms around her, feeling the pulse of music in everything she did. Whether she was listening to the radio, watching her father play, or simply spending time in a home full of musicians, Suzi's deep connection to music became inescapable. Growing up in a household where the sounds of jazz, rock, and classical music constantly echoed through the halls, Suzi never had to wonder whether music was her path. It was a part of her very being. In her eyes, music wasn't just an interest or a hobby. It was the core of her world. And as she watched her father, a dedicated musician, pour his heart into his craft, she realized that this was something she wanted to embrace with equal passion and dedication. Suzi's surroundings played a pivotal role in shaping her confidence, allowing her to fully embrace her unique voice, both in sound and spirit. With each note she sang, each rhythm she tapped, and at every guitar chord she played, it felt like a natural extension of who she was. Rather than questioning her place in the music world, Suzi grew up with an unwavering sense that she was born for it. Music wasn't just something she did. It was woven into her very identity. It wasn't a choice, it was her calling, a passion that defined her purpose in life. By the time she reached her teenage years, the spark of creativity her father had nurtured had turned into an unstoppable fire. Surrounded by encouragement and a deep love for music, Suzi knew she was ready to make her mark. And little did the world know at the time, but Detroit's rhythm had already set the stage for one of rock's most fearless pioneers. She was destined to carve her path, breaking barriers and creating a legacy that would inspire generations of musicians to come. Suzi's rise to fame was heavily influenced by her background, with her father playing a key role in her musical growth. But what moment truly pushed her into the spotlight? Did her father guide her, or did Suzi take the bold steps that others might shy away from? Now, let's explore how Suzi Quatro conquered the UK and redefined rock. The risk that changed everything. In the early 1970s, Suzi Quatro had already tasted some success in the US, but she still wasn't a household name. Despite her undeniable talent and unique style, she hadn't yet achieved the level of recognition that would cement her place in rock history. But everything changed when Mickie Most, a legendary British producer, saw something in her that others had overlooked. Unlike many American producers who saw her just as a female musician, Mickie saw a raw, untamed energy, a rebel spirit ready to reshape the rock scene. He didn't just hear her talent. He recognized the fire in her that could push boundaries and make a lasting impact on the genre. Mickie, with his sharp eye for talent, wasn't intimidated by the fact that Suzi was a woman in a male-dominated industry. Instead, he was captivated by her audacity, her boldness, and the way she could stand out without compromising her authenticity. He encouraged Suzi to take a bold step, to leave the familiar shores of America and head to the UK, where the rock scene was evolving, and where women were beginning to carve out their own space in the music world. It was a risky move. At that time, the UK had a thriving music scene that was more open to female artists in rock. Suzi didn't hesitate. She packed up and leaped the Atlantic. In 1973, Suzi Quatro's bold leap into the music scene paid off beyond her wildest dreams. Her single, Can the Can, soared to the top of the UK charts, securing the #1 spot and capturing the hearts of music fans around the world. The song didn't just make an impact, it became an anthem that resonated with millions, selling out copies and cementing Suzi's place in rock history. This wasn't a mere stroke of luck. It was the result of her undeniable talent, relentless determination, and the vibrant energy she infused into every note. With this success, Suzi Quatro wasn't just another rising star, she was a musical powerhouse. Suzi's success with Can the Can was more than just a personal win, it marked a major shift for women in rock music. She proved to the world that women could lead in the genre, shattering old stereotypes. Suzi wasn't just a performer, she was a trailblazer who wrote her own rules, took control, and created music that was driven by talent, not just looks. Her victory opened doors for many other women, encouraging them to pick up instruments, step into the spotlight, and let their voices be heard in a space that had once been dominated by men. Her achievement sparked a movement. Suzi's bold move to the UK and her subsequent success proved that taking risks could lead to unimaginable rewards. With Can the Can, she had carved out her place in music history, and her journey had just begun. The world now knew her name, and it was clear that Suzi Quatro was not just another rock star, she was changing the face of rock music forever. Suzi made her breakthrough in the music world with the daring production of Can the Can. But was this success limited to just one hit? Did she produce more groundbreaking music? And how do the world and critics view her other works? Now, let's uncover how Suzi Quatro redefined female leadership in music. Unleashing the power of rock. Suzi Quatro's success didn't end with just one hit. She kept pushing boundaries and breaking new ground with every release. After the massive success of Can the Can, Suzi's rise in rock music continued at full force. She followed up with a string of high-energy tracks like 48 Crash, Devil Gate Drive, and The Wild One, each showcasing her undeniable talent and bold presence. With every new song, Suzi proved that her first hit was only the beginning of her rock revolution. What truly set Suzi apart was not just her music, but her legendary stage presence. Dressed in a leather jumpsuit, her bass guitar slung low, and her voice roaring through the speakers, Suzi didn't just perform, she commanded the stage. There was no mistaking it. She was a force. Suzi wasn't content to merely be a part of the rock scene. She wasn't trying to fit in or be accepted. She took control of her space in the world of rock, confidently carving out her place in a genre that was still very much dominated by men. For Suzi, rock was more than just a musical genre. It was a platform for self-expression, a place to challenge the norms, and a way to make her voice heard. She didn't want to dilute the genre or conform to its expectations. She was there to own it. Her performances weren't about following the rules, they were about setting new ones. Each concert, each song, each appearance was a masterclass in power, confidence, and presence. Suzi Quatro broke down barriers in rock music, proving that women could not only participate but lead in a genre dominated by men. Every time she stepped onto the stage, she didn't just perform, she commanded it. Her powerful presence and magnetic energy captivated the audience, making it impossible to look away. Suzi wasn't there to play a minor role or be overshadowed. She owned the spotlight, and with every note, she demanded the respect and recognition that she truly deserved as a rock star. What made Suzi's performances so unforgettable wasn't just her bold fashion choices or powerful voice. It was the way she completely owned her space. She wasn't just a musician, she was a trailblazer. She redefined what it meant to be a woman in rock music. While most female performers of the time were expected to stay in the background, Suzi proved that women could lead the charge, wielding a bass guitar and commanding the crowd with the same level of intensity as their male counterparts. With every performance, Suzi proved that women could be just as powerful and dynamic in rock as anyone else. Her confidence and unapologetic presence made it clear that the future of rock wasn't just about men. It was about anyone who had the talent, drive, and determination to own their place in the spotlight. And Suzi Quatro certainly did that. She didn't just step into rock music, she made it her own. Through her fearless performances and unwavering confidence, Suzi Quatro became a true rock legend, inspiring generations of female musicians to take charge of their own careers and show the world that women could lead in rock too. Beyond conquering the music world, what other career path did Suzi pursue? And how did she use this opportunity to elevate her career even further? Now, let's uncover how Suzi Quatro took over the screen and reinforced her musical legacy in ways no one expected. From rock star to TV icon. In the mid-1970s, Suzi Quatro took an unexpected leap from rock star to TV star when she landed the role of Leather Tuscadero on the hit sitcom Happy Days. At the time, many musicians were wary of television roles, worried they might overshadow their music careers or make them seem less serious as artists. But Suzi was different. Instead of being cautious, she saw TV as an opportunity to expand her influence and reach a wider audience. It wasn't about stepping away from her music. It was about growing her platform and showing the world that her talents extended far beyond the stage. When Suzi took on the role of Leather Tuscadero, she didn't simply play a character, she brought her rock persona to the screen, infusing it with the same charm, confidence, and edge that had already made her a legend in the music world. Leather Tuscadero was a cool, confident, and rebellious character, qualities that perfectly mirrored Suzi's own personality. Suzi didn't just play the part, she owned it. Her natural energy and rock star presence shone through, captivating audiences in a way few other musicians had done before. Suzi did not lose herself when she stepped into television. If anything, Happy Days made her musical identity even stronger. She did not seem like a singer trying acting for attention. She felt like a natural performer whose gift could hold people anywhere. What made her stand out was the way she carried her stage fire into every scene, giving her role a spark that felt real and unforgettable. She stayed true to who she was instead of changing herself to fit what people expected from a musician on TV. That choice made all the difference. Suzi Quatro proved that her appeal went far beyond music alone. She could own a stage, own a screen, and leave people talking long after the moment was over. Suzi's role on Happy Days didn't take away from her music career. In fact, it amplified it. The show introduced her to a whole new audience, many of whom might never have heard her music before. By bringing her musical essence to a family-friendly sitcom, she was able to reach people who might have previously viewed her as too rebellious or niche for mainstream entertainment. She wasn't watering down her rock image, she was giving the world a chance to see her in a different light. One where her authenticity and charisma were just as powerful on screen as they were on stage. Suzi Quatro's step into television showed she was far more than a singer trying her luck on screen. She brought real presence, confidence, and star quality, making it clear that her talent could not be boxed into one path. On Happy Days, Suzi did not leave her music identity behind. She carried that same bold spirit into acting and made the role feel naturally hers. It was proof that she could hold people's attention anywhere, on stage or in front of a camera. This part of her career added something special to her image, confirming that Suzi was fearless, versatile, and ready to grow far beyond the limits people placed on rock stars. So, what do you think about Suzi's revelation regarding her relationship with Chris? What could have prevented them from becoming more intimate? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.